Today we are at the Cheboygan Public Library speaking with Mayor Bronson. Mayor Bronson, can you tell us a little bit about the rich history of Cheboygan and kind of how it was founded?
Certainly. Cheboygan had always had a history of being a Native American site. People used the river. They used an inland waterway to move from Lake Huron to Lake Michigan, so it was a natural place for them to be. In the 1840s, white settlers started to come here, working and selling stuff to Native Americans. Then eventually, the lumbering industry started here. Most of that was in what was called Duncan City, which was adjoining Cheboygan, and is no longer a city.
Now, what happened with Duncan? Why is it not there anymore?
Well, Duncan City had several large sawmills, and they had a fire, and most of the industrial part of that town burned. And so naturally people then emigrated to Cheboygan, which had been established too. They were neighboring. There's only a couple houses left from Duncan City, a couple lumber baron houses. Smaller houses were moved to Cheboygan, and people have used them. And eventually most traces of Duncan City have just disappeared.
That's really good information to know. I mean, I never knew that there was a Duncan City and that Cheboygan has now kind of taken over that, and it's just become this really big city of Cheboygan. How has Cheboygan kind of grown since then?
Well, after that big lumbering era, Cheboygan had to develop as the trees went away. They started cutting different trees, but also fisheries here. There was a lot of fishermen that went in the Great Lakes and for whitefish and trout, and that continued until 1960s or 70s. And then also Cheboygan started harvesting hemlock and used the bark, and had a large tannery that made shoe leather here. It was a huge industry in Cheboygan.
That's fantastic. I mean, Northern Michigan is all about lumber industry, it seems like, from the past. And just to know that rich history about the hemlock trees and just about all the other kind of things that you were just talking about is really great to know. Now, you mentioned previously that there was something with Chicago and trees. Can you tell us about that tradition that happened?
Yes, when the Chicago fire happened, Cheboygan was at the height of its lumbering industry, and much of the wood from Cheboygan went to Chicago to rebuild that city. At that time, they also started a tradition of sending Christmas trees to Chicago, which is still done today by the Coast Guard. The cutter is stationed in Cheboygan. Every fall, they get trees from the local Christmas tree plantations and take them down to Chicago to distribute.
That's really neat, and I really like how Cheboygan likes to help other communities, not just in Northern Michigan, but just help, another place and keep a tradition going. That is really great. Now, are there cool historical books that people can check out here at the library if they want to know a little bit more?
There are several. There's quite a collection of history books here. We also have a local history and genealogy room. We have the Genealogical Society, which is here twice a week, and will meet with people to help them track their history. If they think they had somebody who lived here, they're pretty good at finding all those sources.
And that's really great for people to know, especially if they want to find something out, that was in their past or ancestors or anything like that. Can you tell us where the library is located if people want to come by?
It is in the city of Cheboygan on Bailey Street. It's 2 blocks off of Main Street in town.
Well, great. Thank you so much for all this wonderful information about the rich history of Cheboygan.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
In Cheboygan, with My News 26, I'm Marlaina Scarbrough.